Alright guys, I got to thinking about it, and I had a piece of plastic, old plastic mud flap, that I cut the slot in and drilled the holes for my spacer. Plus it'll help seal my floor up when I put this pedal through. Went in the first time and now I have to fight it. It figures. Oh, come on. That'll help seal my floor up, I do believe, and give me a little bit of space instead of buying the bracket or the spacer from Lokar. I think once I get it bolted in, that it will give me the right amount of pedal travel. Alright guys, I'm going to climb under the car and show you the best I can how that looks bolted up. Right there is the bracket. I've got to tighten the bolts up yet, but your cable will go into that hole right there and it goes up, and I'm going to be able to run that up behind the motor to the carburetor very easily, a lot better than what I could before with the other Lokar bracket. I do believe this is going to be the solution to my throttle cable. Alright guys, I'm laying on my back under the car. I know it's kind of difficult to see, but it's bolted up and in, and I've already dropped my Lokar 36-inch cable down, and I'm going to put the nut on it. And this, just from a simple mock-up, when I get up top I'll show you, but I think this is just what I needed for this car. Let me get the nut on here and we'll go up to the top. Alright guys, I've measured my cable, mocked it up in there, marked it with a piece of tape, and now I'm going to cut it. Like that. Got a nice clean cut. Now we're ready to put it back in the car. Alright guys, back under the car. I've got the cable bolted in. I have put the pin through the first hole in the arm. And make sure you bring a little screwdriver with you, because there's a little C-clip right here on this other side that you need to put in to hold this. But that's what it's going to look like. So now I've got to go to the top, trim my cable, and assemble the pieces on the carburetor. Alright, so I've got my cable ran up here, and this slips into that ferrule, and then we got to put it through this hole right here, which is kind of hard to do one-handed, but I'll get it. Maybe. If I didn't knock my nut down for that, I did. Oh, come on. Ta-da! Alright, I gotta get my nut I just dropped. Alright. Now I'll just put your nut on there. Straighten this a little bit. And you're almost done. But I will have a throttle cable on the old school 64 Nova wagon instead of that rod. That should make the throttle easier to drive, not so jerky, and I won't have to worry about binding issues. So let me get my parts to hook the carburetor up, and we'll get on that. Alright guys, make sure you tighten your connection up right here. It's 2 9/16. It looks like I'll have to straighten that out a little bit. And I've already put my end in here, a 5/16 and a 3/8 wrench. And I always cut my cable a little long to go up in there. Oh. Well, I suppose I better unloosen that screw a little bit. Now, I always leave a little slack in them, and I let the cable a little longer so I can fine tune the adjustment. Then you tighten your set screw up. My arms are probably in the way. There it is. Now I'm going to go in there and operate the throttle pedal. And watch. Since I don't have the windshield in, I got slack. And I believe I'm good. So that was a Lokar billet floor mount throttle pedal kit. It's a little bit of work, guys. But I looked all over YouTube for any hints or tricks on this one. And I didn't see anybody that mounted one of these in a Nova. I will have to unbolt it and take it out when I put the carpet in it. But that's no big deal. And like I said, that black piece underneath of it, that's just an old piece of plastic mud flap that I had laying around that I cut and put a slot in and drilled the holes. I wanted to seal it and space it off the floor a little bit. But yeah, overall, I think it turned out really well. And I hadn't seen anybody on YouTube who had mounted it. So there it is. One more step closer on the old school 64 Nova wagon, guys. Next, I've got to bleed the brakes yet. I got to unbolt my alternator and trim that bracket up to get it in line a little bit better. But that's what it looks like, and it's not hard. It just takes time. And don't be afraid to try it. All right, guys, that was installing that low carb floor mount billet throttle pedal in my 64 Nova wagon. Hard? Not really. You just got to make sure you take your good measurements and figure out where you're going to put it and where you're going to run your cable. It's very, I won't say easy, but it's medium. It's not bad. You know, maybe I'm saying that because I have done probably 10 or 13 of them Lokar throttle cables on various cars, but I've never put a pedal in the car like that. And that works out much better than the Lokar pedal they had that they said was for a 64 to a 67 or a 63 to 67 Nova. I like this a lot better. It works and it's not hitting anything. It's not in the way, and I'm happy with the way it turned out. It is hot. It is hot here tonight, and I'm sweating, but you know what? I got it done. And that's part of hot rodding, guys. You just put your mind to it, you do it, and you keep working until you're done. If you got to take a break, you take a break. So overall, not hard to do. Just be careful on your measurements and cutting your holes out, your slot for your arm, and drilling your holes. I used that bottom plate that holds the cable on the outside of the car. I used that as my template, and it worked out really well. And like I said, I hadn't seen anybody put this kind of throttle pedal in, and I figured that somebody needed to do it and kind of put it out there and show some people some stuff to do, or give them some tips or tricks, or to help out a guy who's looking at it wondering how he should do it. So my next video, I'm going to be doing a muffler shootout. I want to hear the different kinds of mufflers. I've got 4 or 5 sets of mufflers that I want to try on the wagon and let it run and see what you guys think of the sound. So that'll be my next video. So guys, just remember, build what you want. Don't let anybody tell you what to build or how to build it. It's your car, you're doing the work, and only you will be happy with what you build. Until next time, guys, keep hot rodding and keep building.